Hey everyone, welcome to the Roto Grinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevie TPFL. It's the 31st of January. It's 2017. It's Tuesday. We got 6 basketball games to break down here on tonight's slate. Got all the lines, so the injury news a little bit better than yesterday's podcast. And as always on Tuesday, Brett Killer B, how you doing, my friend?
Good. Pretty profitable Monday, it looks like, but I don't have any Mike Conley right now, and he's dropping a monster. Right now, it's like maybe 8 minutes left in the third quarter, and he's got 26 points, 4 boards, 6 assists, and 2 steals. So never good when a guy's having a monster basically halfway through the game. You have 0% of them.
Oh, well, yeah, that's not good. I don't know if you saw my tweet earlier. I forgot to edit my dummy lineup on FanDuel.
Oh, yeah.
So all the tournaments I played on FanDuel tonight,
no.
Congratulations, free money because it put up 216 points.
Man. Yeah. I think that's happened to all of us that have been in the industry for at least a couple years. I know I've had multiple dummy lineups go through. The worst too is like when you have like a satellite or you have a survivor lineup, and on the last like day of the survivor, you just don't fill out a lineup. It's like, come on, that's free equity.
Happens to the best of us. It really does.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we move on to Tuesday. Looking like I'm going to have an okay night on DraftKings, so that's all that matters.
Get it back.
Yeah, maybe. I'm okay with losing a little bit of money, not setting a lineup on FanDuel and getting out, just losing a little bit. But either way, interesting 6-game slate here. Every line over 210 points. So really a favorable 6-game slate, one of the nicer 6-game slates we're going to see all season. We're going to start with New York at Washington. 216.5 total in this game. Washington favored by 8. The Derrick Rose injury is something we're having to look for here. I'm seeing some sites have him questionable. A couple of the sites that I pull Vegas from have him as doubtful. What's your thoughts here on Derrick Rose and the Knicks?
Yeah, I actually have him as doubtful. So, obviously Brandon Jennings will be at the point guard. They had a 4 overtime game 2 days ago. So a lot of these guys are coming off of like 50-plus minutes. I'm looking at Brandon Jennings. He had 53 minutes. Stats are going to be kind of inflated coming off of those games. Carmelo had 46 minutes to run. But one thing to note here is just how many shots Carmelo is getting off of late. Last 3 games, he's had 24 shots, 26 shots, and 36 shots. So he's shooting the ball a ton. And if he's shooting that many shots, he doesn't, if he makes 35%, you're going to be okay with it. He's been a beast, and his DraftKings price at $7,500. You're gonna want some exposure there. Kristaps, I'd say still only a tournament play right now, but man, like he's at 6,200 on DraftKings, man, you want to buy low, and this is a perfect spot for him.
Buy low indeed for Porzingis. I definitely agree with that. Don't hate this spot for him. 6,200. If we see that 35 to 40-minute game, the upside's definitely there. I agree with you on Melo. Even if you look further back, 17 shots, and then 27. So, like, the shot attempts have been over 17 in 6 straight games. So, I agree with the Melo. 7,500 on DraftKings, just all day long there. Right. Outside of that, you mentioned Jennings. If Rose is out, you just lock in Jennings. I'm perfectly okay with that. And then Noah is only 3,500 on DraftKings. That's a really favorable price for him.
Yeah, one thing to note too is like when you're looking at the Knicks bigs. Guillermo Hernangomez was getting a consistent somewhere around 20 minutes for 3 games in a row, and then in that quadruple overtime game, he only got 3 minutes a run. So it doesn't make sense to me what they're doing with the bigs here. And I feel like if I don't have a good understanding at what the coaches are doing, then I just totally avoid the spot. So unless we get some injury news of Noah, he did play 40 minutes. So probably tough for him to put in a full 40 minutes without getting hurt. But, unless there's an injury that we don't know of, I'm probably staying away from the bigs.
Yeah, I think the thing was they were just being really careful with Noah coming back from injury, and I think that's why Hernangomez was getting such a run there. So It's real favorable that we saw Noah play 41 minutes in that 4 overtime game. We probably expect his minutes to be in the 25 to 30 range, and if he gets 25 minutes at 3,500, that's a steal.
Yeah, yeah. I like Noah a ton here. Like I said, I don't know why his price hasn't risen. Like after a 40-minute game, like I don't know why DraftKings went to bumped him up there, because I think that's the only question mark. Is he going to get enough run? And that was a question probably that we had for 2 weeks. But coming off a 41-minute run, 3,500 on DraftKings, yeah, he's going to be super popular.
What's your thoughts on Courtney Lee? Cheap, 4,300, and really well the last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, I'm not a Courtney Lee guy. I mean, he is coming off of some really decent games. I mean, obviously, when you play 52 minutes, you're going to have a good fantasy day.
Sometimes.
But yeah, like he's also, I mean, last 3 games, 38 minutes, 35 minutes, 52 minutes. And, he's shot the ball 13, 12, and 16 times. It's just, he's running into more rebounds of late. I don't know. Normally, he's not a guy that stuffs the stat sheet, so I usually stay away from him.
Looking on over to the Washington side, point guards against New York and shooting guards against New York has been a thing this year. John Wall, super expensive, but I think that definitely lowers his ownership, and I think he's a really good contrarian play with Westbrook, Harden, Anthony Davis. Like, we have a ton of studs on this slate, and Wall's probably going to be sub 10%.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Wall. He is at 10K on DraftKings, but I think that's priced, right where he should be. And this is a good matchup for him. So, can I put him in cash games? I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see what type of value comes up tomorrow. But right now, I would say he's on the outside looking in for my cash. So.
Bradley Beal, we've targeted shooting guards against Courtney Lee a lot this season, but Bradley Beal has struggled in both games against this team this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I haven't looked at that, but I do see 38 minutes of run against the Knicks where, yeah, he put up a stinker, only 17 and a half fantasy points. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, if I'm going to go a guard in Washington, it's probably going to be Wall here. So, I would assume you'd get him for lower ownership, though. So a tournament player like yourself, I could see clicking on him a little bit more.
Any interest in Otto Porter, Markieff Morris, Marcin Gortat, any of those guys?
I mean, I don't. I feel like Markieff's now at a price where, what's the return going to be like? I don't know. Like back when he was down by the 5Ks, I was loving it. But now he's priced where he should be, and that's usually when I get off these guys is when they're priced a little too much or they've been playing really well for 2 weeks. Then it's tough to really click on their names because now their price is way up there. So Otto Porter seems to be a guy that he just hasn't been consistent. So tournaments only. But yeah, at any point in time, one of these forwards can go off for sure.
All right, moving on to the next game on the slate. We have New Orleans visiting the northern land of Toronto. 215 total in this game. Toronto favored by 7.5. No injury news in this game. We got 2 teams at full strength. DeRozan came back, and in that return, he played 36 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and say he's fine. Yeah,
he's more than fine. I mean, he's definitely cash game viable tomorrow. Still way underpriced at 7,800. Has a really high floor. I mean, you can pencil him in. I mean, his last 2 months, the least amount of shots he put up is 17 shots. I mean, you gotta love a guy that's putting up at least 17 attempts every game. So your floor is going to be there mainly because of the shots. And he's been a little bit more consistent with boards and assists this year. So he's stepped up his game overall this whole year. So.
It pains me to say that I like DeRozan tonight. It pains me to say that. Pace-up game, like, this is a great spot for DeRozan. Kyle Lowry as well. Vegas is thinking this game is going to stay semi-close. If we get 4 quarters out of these guys, instant value from both those guys. I don't know, outside of those 2 guys, if I like really anybody else on the Toronto side.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I mean, you can't really – I mean, I don't like Valanciunas, and then now that it's weird with the forwards, you know. I do feel like Damari Carroll shouldn't be starting. Like, I don't know where you're at, but I mean, Norman Powell, man, when he gets minutes, he looks good. Yeah. I don't know why Norman Powell's not starting for this team, but in a way, coming off the bench, like, I feel like he should still see a good 20 minutes of run off the bench. But I just don't get it. And, you know, with Damari Carroll back in there, I don't think you can be clicking on these guys' names very confidently.
Yeah, the only guy that I might have in some tournament teams is Patrick Patterson, 3,500.
Yeah. What do you like there?
I just like the opportunity to go over 20 fantasy points. You know, he's done it in 2 straight games. So he gets me 23. I played him against Orlando the other night. If he gets you 23 fantasy points at 3,500, you know, you're going to be able to fit in a guy like Wall or one of these other studs we're going to talk about.
Sure. Yeah. I guess if I'm probably going to go value, I'll probably look for maybe like a Joakim Noah, a guy that I feel like I can get, you know, easy production out of. I mean, Pat isn't bad for 3,500 either.
He stinks. We'd understand. He's not good at basketball. Like, yeah, I get that.
Just not a guy that I own very often. That's for sure.
And then another tournament play, Terrence Ross. He's going to continue to get minutes even with DeRozan back. So he's a guy that if he gets hot, you know, you're going to be, you know, sitting really well in tournaments. 4,100, a little pricey there, but still don't hate it. Looking at the other side of the game, Anthony Davis seems like a good matchup for him. It's just his price. His price is, I don't even know if it's high or down or what. It's right. Like, I don't know. It's just such a great
price
value.
Is right. Yeah. His price is right. It's just the risk of clicking on Anthony Davis, you know? I mean, for what the guy does when he's on the court, 10-5 is undervalued. He is a 11-5 guy. Like, he's $1,000 underpriced, but the thing is he has trouble staying on the court. So his fantasy points per minute, his usage, you know, just everything looks great when he's on the court. So just need to get him staying on the court, and you're more than fine.
Yeah, I still think you leave him in tournament only play, but in tournaments, I still think that, you know, you got to have some exposure to him if you're playing multiple teams. Jrue Holiday is so frustrating. You know, this is the type of games we wanted from him forever, and he's gone over 50 fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. Not the greatest matchup, but not the worst matchup either. It's just 7,700 for Jrue Holiday just seems high.
Yeah, I love Jrue Holiday. So, I mean, I'm glad to see him get back to where, you know, where he's playing at an elite level again. It kind of took him a little bit. You know, he was with his wife early on in the season when she was going through all the health issues. So good to see him back rolling here. And, you know, 7,700, it's not a bad price tag. Like, it's going to be one that you're going to probably want some exposure. Maybe he's probably a little bit better priced on FanDuel, comparatively speaking. So maybe you just get a little bit more exposure over there. But, yeah, I mean, definitely firmly in play, especially the way he's playing. I was surprised at this line, actually. I thought Toronto would be over a 10-point favorite. And I think the reason why they're not is just how well Jrue's been playing. The whole team's been playing really well. So, and sometimes they've been even playing better with Anthony Davis off the court. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Anybody else from this team? Like, you know, once you get past Davis and Holiday, Jones's minutes are not – they're not there enough to even consider him at 6K. Then you're looking at all these other guys, and you're like, who the heck am I even going to take a shot on?
Yeah, so like I'm also a pretty big fan of Tyreke Evans, and we started seeing his minutes go up, like, you know, 21, 22, 23, 27, and then all of a sudden they dip back down to like 20, 13, 11, and then back up to 21, 21. So like there was a moment there where I was like, okay, we're going to start seeing maybe 28 minutes run, 30 minutes a run. Let's get aboard. And I know he's killed me in a few spots because of that, just because I just assumed the minutes were going to just keep on going up. Really, it doesn't make sense to me what they're doing with him. He's coming off a few knee injuries, and, you know, the big thing was, okay, there's a minutes cap. Well, they went to overtime in that Brooklyn game, and he exceeded his minutes cap by like 4 or 5 minutes. It's like, is the coaching staff putting him at risk again to get injured? And then, you know, now his minutes go back down. So I don't know, but I think he's a perfect tournament play. If you get somewhere around 22 minutes a run, like, I mean, the guy's well over a fantasy point per minute. So
that guy's so frustrating too.
yeah.
Let's move on. We have Sacramento at Houston, one of the best games on the entire slate. 226 total here. Houston favored by 11.5. As we know, Rudy Gay out. Caspi going to remain out for now. They're saying he's still a week or so away. We'll start with the Sacramento side. DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, Boogie had a boogie night tonight. I mean, he crushed. So, and he seems to be not affected too much by back-to-back. So, I'll have to look that up again tomorrow, how he is in back-to-backs. But I'm pretty sure he's one of those guys that I've deemed to be not really affected, like production-wise. So, I think I can still go back to him. It's kind of concerning. The spread here is at 11.5, and you want to get a full run out of a 10K plus guy. That's the big thing. Like, and I'd rather be on the other side of a 10K guy like James Harden, where it's going to be because of Harden the blowout would happen. So I'd probably be more likely to click on Harden than Cousins.
Yeah, fair enough. We do need to say, like, Cousins' usage without Rudy Gay this season is just massive. We talk about it on the podcast every day they play. Outside of Cousins, I'm not rostering anybody from Sacramento outside of maybe like Aaron Aflalo, just because he's 3,400 and going to play 30 minutes. Yeah,
I mean, Ty Lawson got 30 minutes to run last game, 31.6, so that's interesting to me. But I feel like he's priced out, at 4,600 on FanDuel, but on DraftKings where he's 4K. I mean, he's definitely interesting at 4K on DraftKings. So I don't hate it, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough to go with like an older veteran type guy. But if he's getting 31 minutes at point guard, you gotta like that.
Yeah, I guess. It's just like tonight it'd be Collison playing 30 minutes and Lawson playing 20. I'm just not touching that situation. There's just so many good spots. Even Barnes and Temple, if they were cheaper, it is a matchup against Houston, but I really can't go there. And if I'm playing anybody, it's Cousins. And then on the other side, you had already mentioned James Harden. Just load him up. Coming off of a bad game against Indy, this is a great bounce back spot.
Yep, and when you're looking at this slate from a macro point of view, I think Harden's obviously going to be the most popular. You got Westbrook going up against San Antonio. So, I mean, all the studs are basically in play, or a lot of the 10K plus studs are in play this slate for only 6 games. That's pretty awesome. But, yeah, with Westbrook going against the Spurs, I mean, Harden's going to be the guy that a lot of ownership's going to go to.
Outside of Harden, this game's back in Houston, so instantly take Ryan Anderson off your sheet. Don't play him at home. I don't know if you like home and road splits, but we just have to look at this guy's home and road splits. He's shooting the ball awful on the road or at home, and he's been shooting the ball really well at home. So no Ryan Anderson for me. I like Eric Gordon in the spot. Patrick Beverley is fine as well. I don't know what to do with Trevor Ariza.
Ariza seems to be not very consistent right now, and he's not a guy that puts up a lot of shots, so he needs his rebounds, he needs his steals, and a guy that relies on steals, which it's tough to rely on a guy getting a couple steals a night, but those steals haven't been there. I totally agree. Like he's really cold right now. I mean, 0 for 5, 1 for 6. 4 for 11, 2 for 7, 1 for 8 are his last 5. So a guy that doesn't shoot a lot needs to be a lot more efficient than that.
Anybody else from Houston?
No, it's going to be stay away. Just realize, too, when it comes to the Houston bigs that, it's kind of going to be a rotation here. I think Nene didn't get any minutes last game, so he's didn't play, coach's decision. And then, between Harrow, Nene, and then Capella, it's a frustrating situation.
I'm just not touching it. Just save yourself the trouble. Oklahoma City at San Antonio, 211 total in this game. San Antonio favored by 9. The only injury news that we really need to know here is Enes Kanter, obviously, and then Simmons is still questionable. We'll start with Oklahoma City. They did play, was it Sunday? Right? Yeah, Sunday. So we got to see them without Cantor, and it was kind of a mess.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't I didn't watch that game, so I don't know what it really looks like. I'll have to look at the box scores. One thing that I do see is Cameron Payne got 20 minutes a run, and I know he's only still 3K on DraftKings, and kind of a believer in this this guy. So hoping to see him increase those minutes, so play somewhere around half the game. And at only 3K, he's in play. But outside of that, I don't know if I click on any OKC tomorrow. So
yeah, it's tough. If you take off the starters off the floor, we don't have a huge sample size, so this is a sample size we're just going to have to continue to adjust with. And really, I wish they'd let Victor Oladipo play more with the second unit. That kind of happened against the Cavs. So if you want to take Oladipo in tournaments at 5,500, I do think there's some merit to that. Westbrook at 12-3 against San Antonio at San Antonio. I don't know about it. It's a tough matchup. He's obviously a guy that could excel in it, but like, are you paying for Westbrook or are you paying for Harden on this slate?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kawhi goes on Westbrook. So, yeah. I mean, if that's the case, then there's just no way I'm clicking on Westbrook. The only thing, I mean, that's the only guy that you really have to stop in this offense. I guess I don't mind Steven Adams at 5,400 on DraftKings. But again, what you get out of that guy, you know, his minutes should be more secure without Enes Kanter. So I do expect to see 28 to 30 some minutes. And there's no Paul Gasol. So, I mean, they're already thin in San Antonio. So you're going to get David Lee, possibly Dedmon on Adams. So, you know, I think that's where you go. Steven Adams seems like at 52 or at 5,400 on DraftKings, I think that's more secure than anything else.
Yeah, if this was a different matchup, we would be talking about Sabonis and we talk about Grant and these guys. But I just really, I'm not touching any of those guys outside of maybe like a Cameron Payne in tournaments. And then, like I said, I don't mind Victor Oladipo at his price. Right. Looking at the San Antonio side of things, solid pace-up game for them. This game's at home, which always favors the home team. Kawhi's only 8,800. We have all these studs on this slate. He might be a guy that's a little under-owned.
Yeah, I really like Kawhi in this game. He seems way underpriced on DraftKings, so I'd probably get my exposure there. Probably won't have him on my FanDuel cash, but I think I'll be, you know, he'll be like one of the main studs that I put in my cash team right away. So,
all right. Anybody else from the Spurs?
Yeah, Aldridge at 6,700. I mean, just. It's kind of almost a price point play now that he's down there. I mean, just a few days ago, he was at 7,600, so he's gone down 900 within 2 games. So you gotta like that. I mean, he's still shooting the ball a ton. He's always going to be over the boards. No Paul Gasol, so the boards should go his way more. You know, with no Gasol on the floor. So yeah, I could see doubling up with both Kawhi and Aldridge in cash.
Yeah, and then in tournaments, I don't mind Tony Parker at 4,100 as a tournament play against Westbrook. Definitely think that's going to be something that I look at as far as tournaments go. David Lee, 5,500. Don't hate it. I like that Aldridge call. I didn't realize he was under 7K. That's too cheap.
Yeah. David Lee, again, he's like one of those guys that's now priced up, you know, where he should be. I feel like this is a time, you know, we got our profit off him. Now we just wait for him to die out, fizzle out, and, you know, start buying him again when he's back down at 3,500 4K.
Moving on, Charlotte at Portland, 214 total in this game. Portland favored by 3. Zeller is doubtful for Charlotte. Jeremy Lamb is questionable, probably more on the probable side. And then on the Portland side, Ed Davis has already been ruled out. No Cody Zeller. We'll start with Charlotte. Is there anything that really stands out to you here for Charlotte?
Yeah, I mean, so not too much on the Charlotte side. I mean, Kemba at 7,900. Again, this is a team that when you're talking about road splits and home splits, like I feel way more comfortable rostering these Charlotte guys at home. So probably like Kemba at 7,900 on DraftKings seems right. And I'd be more comfortable to buy Batum over on his FanDuel price. He's 7,400 on DK, 7,300 on FanDuel. Shooting guard's a little bit tougher on FanDuel, so I'd be more likely to roster Batum over there.
Yeah, I don't hate either one of those guys. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, an interesting tournament play. And then Marvin Williams and Spencer Hawes. We like big guys against Portland. Both those guys, I think, are in play for tournaments tonight.
Yeah, I just cut out there for a few seconds. I didn't hear anything you said. So.
No, I just was saying Marvin Williams and Spencer Hawes are good tournament plays, big guys against Portland.
Yeah. That's I don't know. I've gotten burned by Hawes, so more likely than not, probably staying away from the bigs here, just because I feel like the minutes aren't guaranteed for any of these guys. They may go with more of a hot hand type of thing. I know even Frank Kaminsky's thrown in a good game there, so he's coming off of probably the better game of the bigs last game. So yeah, probably stay away. Like the other side when we're talking about bigs and Plumlee. So.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. I'm going to have a lot of exposure to Marvin Williams here. If he gets us 30 minutes at 4,900, he gets hot a little bit. He's going to shoot a bunch of threes. So if we get anything over 30% from the three-point line, we're looking good at 4,900.
Yeah, I think once you throw Jeremy Lamb back into the Charlotte rotation, it really does kill some of the usage, especially he doesn't normally come off the bench. So it kind of kills the usage for the guys coming off the bench. So, I'm less likely to roster a guy that, it also comes off the bench, but I don't know. I love it when Lamb's out of the lineup, because then you can roster these guys that pick up, the one or two shots that Lamb normally takes from them. So, but yeah, these kind of these guys that I don't know, rely on only 6 to 8 shots. I'm less likely to go with them.
Yeah, fair points. We'll talk about the Portland side now. You wanted to talk about Plumlee? Run with it.
Yeah, Plumlee is just, he's in a stretch, and I don't know what DraftKings is doing with their price. So, this is a free square. It should be a free square for everybody tomorrow. Charlotte, you can take advantage of their bigs. He's 6,500. He has gone up in price from 5,200 2 weeks ago to 65. But even at 65, he would have returned at least 5x every single game in the last looks like 5 games. So. Should see plenty of run here, should get around 30 minutes. And I don't see him I think his floor is somewhere around 30 fantasy points against Charlotte. So,
yeah, that's I like Plumlee a lot. I agree with you as far as just plugging him in. What's your thoughts on McCollum and Lillard here? Yeah,
Lillard's been really just outproducing. Or I should say McCollum's been really outproducing Lillard of late. So McCollum's price on DK at 7,600, firmly in play, no doubt about it. But Lillard at 8,700 is still just way overpriced, just not consistent enough. So I'm, going to be staying away from there. He's not the same player right now. He doesn't have that killer instinct, So I think if you're going to buy him, you buy him over on FanDuel at 8,300, and you probably reserve that strictly for tournaments.
Fair enough. Aminu and Evan Turner are solid, both under 5K. Even with Harkless coming back, they both played their normal amount of minutes. They kind of went small with no Ed Davis in that second unit, and they could definitely do that against Charlotte. So I don't mind these guys under 5K.
Yeah, Amino's been phenomenal. And at only 4,500, that's gonna be another probably popular play for me. I see. Seems like he's been getting 30 minutes of run. He's coming off of 36, 28, 32, 34 minutes. So if he's getting that many minutes, he crushes $4,500 value. So yeah, Amino should be high on everybody's list tomorrow.
Anybody else?
Evan Turner is mainly, a tournament play for me, but you're right. I'm looking at his minutes, and it's 40 minutes, 32, 31, and 33. That's ridiculous in itself too. So I don't mind stacking up this Portland side, but if you do, you want to do a game stack, and tomorrow is a 6-game slate. So potentially we had an overtime game today. Sometimes an overtime game really takes down tournaments. So I don't mind stacking this and hoping that you get a shootout / overtime game. So.
Yeah, I actually don't hate that idea as well. 3-point spread here, so obviously they're thinking it's going to be a close game. Then we add this last game of the night, and it's interesting because there's so much injury news. It's going to take me a second to get through all this. We have Denver at LA taking on the Lakers. It's a 226 total. Denver favored by 3.5. The Joker has already been ruled out for this game. Kenneth Faried is probable. He had that hamstring injury before last game, and I think he played 36 or 37 minutes. Wilson Chandler probable, dealing with a neck injury. Jamal Murray is questionable, and then Moutier was not supposed to travel with the team. Met up with the team today. Is questionable to play on Tuesday, so we'll have to pay attention to that. They don't know if he's going to play or not at this point. And then on the Lakers side, Julius Randle has already been ruled out for this game. He's dealing with an illness. He's cleared to resume activities, but not playing in this game. And then D'Angelo Russell cleared to play, but still questionable. They're going to see how he responds after shoot around. So a lot of injury news for a 10:30 game. Figuring out this game and getting this game right, if we don't have any news, could win you a tournament.
Yeah, this game's going to be vital in tournaments. So I love a lot of different plays here. You have a lot of usage opened up just because of Jokic being off the floor and Randall being off the floor. So those are two high usage guys that are now off the floor. And obviously those shots have to be spread around. So, there's going to be a lot of guys in play. Who do you want to break down first?
We'll go Denver first here. Instantly, I'm interested in Faried. Coming off of a really solid game, gets a matchup with the Lakers. No Julius Randle. I don't think the hamstring injury is anything to really worry about. Like I said, he played, I think it was 36 or 37 minutes against Phoenix the other night with no Jokic and put up 49 fantasy points, and he's only 5,400. So going to have a lot of Faried here.
Yep. I was really surprised what they did with the minutes here for the big guys. Nurkic only saw, 15 minutes, and I was expecting at least 24, 28 minutes of Nurkic. We didn't get that, and Faried sucked up most of those minutes. So, Faried is a fantasy point per minute guy, and he saw 36 minutes. So against a Laker team that, they don't defend anybody, if he sees anywhere near 30 minutes, you're going to want all of the Faried. So at 5,400, you can basically pencil him in, I would say, for at least 28 minutes. He should be in your cash games.
Yeah, with Jokic against the Lakers on the 17th of January, he played 30 minutes and put up 33 fantasy points. And this game's without Jokic. So Nurkic started in that game. Like you said, the minutes were just not there. If you're playing multiple tournament teams, I think I'm still fading him. Like, he was 4,300, he dudded, and now they moved him up to 5,000 on DraftKings. I just don't think I'm going to go there.
Yeah, go buy him on FanDuel at 4,100 if you want some exposure. That's where you should be getting it. Do not roll him out in cash games. But yeah, 4,100, I can see being a little bit, just going the exact opposite way and buying Nurkic there and hoping he gets, the 28 minutes that I thought he was going to get last game.
Yeah, that game Saturday against Phoenix, I had Gallinari as one of my core plays. That's definitely going to happen again tonight. I think that Wilson Chandler injury is more than what they're leading off, because he just didn't look good in that game and only played 23 minutes. So I'm locking in Gallinari. Yeah,
Gallinari looked good. It wasn't like he took that many. I guess the last two games he's had 16 shots, 14 shots. But yeah, he's just kind of doing it all with rebounds and. That's what you like to see in the last two games. He's had 15 boards. So he hasn't been really consistently rebounding, but also last two games been getting to the free throw line, 23 free throws in the last two games. So he's just being a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, he has to be. Jokic is just a guy that wants to score the basketball. They use him a lot. And without him on the floor, no big bump for anybody, but, Gallinari's averaging right at 8.8 fantasy points per minute on FanDuel without without Jokic on the floor. So that's really solid. We really need to pay attention to this point guard news because, like, if Jamal Murray and Moutier are both going to sit this game, I'll pay that $5,600 price tag for Jameer Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, I think regardless, like, if one of those guys is out, he's already penciled in for 30 minutes. And this might be Rajon Rondo Sacramento. You remember when Rajon Rondo would have to play the full game in Sacramento? I mean, you're forcing a pretty old dude in Jameer Nelson. So he played 42 minutes against Phoenix at home and then 33 at Phoenix. So, I mean, to play 42 minutes in Denver, Mile High, that's asking a lot for a 35-year-old guy. So, yeah, his minutes are really secure with these injuries. So just try and figure out as much news as possible up until lock. And I agree he's in play, way more in play on FanDuel. So he's, let's see, 5,600 on DK, and then on FanDuel he's 5,100.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely solid. Any interest in Gary Harris or Will Barton?
I probably reserve, actually –
flip a coin.
It also is going to matter point guards, right? So I'm guessing when Jameer Nelson's off the court, did you watch that last game to see who ran point? I would assume it would be Gary Harris, but seems like Gary Harris had 8 boards, 4 assists. I'm gonna have to look into what happened last game. So figure out who's kind of running point if. It looks like Murray's going to be out, and
they held him out of practice Monday. I'd be shocked if he plays, but
and it looks like Moutier's already been ruled out. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for these guys. Let's just say that.
Oh, Moutier traveled with the team, so I didn't know if he had already been officially ruled out or not. But we have to see if they have Beasley on the roster. I don't know if he's in the D League or if he's on the active roster or not, but he's a guy that could have run point. But I think the most he's played in a game this year is like 14, 15 minutes. So it really should be Gary Harris without Jameer Nelson. It's just
just by looking at box score, it looks like Gary Harris did run point last game. So I mean, it just looks like he was assisting a lot more than normal, or probably had the ball in his hands a little bit more than normal.
All right, let's talk Lakers side. No Randall here.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are going to go to Larry Nance. I don't know where you're thinking tournaments, but Zubac is the guy that I'm going to be playing.
Yeah, I think Zubac's I would assume he's going to have as much run as he's had the last 2 games, which is 28 minutes and 26 minutes. So if you can pencil him in there, I mean, he seems like where Nikolai Jokic was last year. If you remember when Jokic kind of came on, you're like, wow, you can kind of see what this guy has. He has a pretty polished game, and definitely a Euro big type of game. So, he doesn't have the outside shot right now, but he does have a good touch. So, really interested in watching more of this guy. He's a fantasy point per minute type of guy. So, love Zubac. Nobody on the Denver side, bigs wise, can really cover this guy. So, I'd be more than fine rolling him out at 3,500.
I think the biggest thing we need to take away is the shot attempts, right? Like, he's taking double-digit shot attempts when he's getting minutes. That's what we want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, coming off of 26 shots in the last 2 games. I think his minutes are secure just as long as he stays out of foul trouble. I would assume Kenneth Faried is going to be running. Actually, Zubac will probably be on Nurkic, because Nurkic, I'm assuming, will get the start. So, he should be a popular play tomorrow.
What's your thoughts on Larry Nance?
Yeah, I'm not, I guess I'm not a Larry Nance guy. He doesn't have high usage. It just seems like I think I'll get my exposure here in the guards. Just feel like the usage is spread around equally to the Lakers. I actually use the Roto IQ once Randall's off, and it seems like nobody gets more than 1.2% usage bump. So it goes to Russell, it goes to Zubac, Ingram, Tariq Black, Jordan Clarkson. So it gets spread all the way around. And normally, like when you see a guy off the court, you want to see a big usage bump to one guy, and we don't have that here. So I think what I'll be doing is mainly just grabbing the guards here.
All right, let's talk about the guards. D'Angelo Russell practiced fully Sunday and Monday. Still doesn't know if he's going to play or not in this game. That really means a lot, like knowing if he plays or if he doesn't. If he plays, I wouldn't suspect him to play his 30, 35 minutes. I would expect him probably to be in the 20, 25 range. Who are we targeting here for the guards?
Yeah, I think Lou Williams right now is the most consistent guy. I feel confident in him. This game should stay close. It should be, a back and forth type of game, and that's what you want with Lou Williams. So feel really good with him. Jordan Clarkson, I think, is another guy that you're going to want to have some exposure to. Those are my two guys. Nick Young just seems too much of a tournament play. He can get hot, and that's exactly what you want in a tournament play. But, he's just not getting enough he's not getting enough shots off, basically. So
if you're playing tournaments, though, you have to have some Nick Young if you're playing multiple teams. That's all I'm going to say. Like, if I script tonight, there's probably a really good chance that I script tonight. This is a really solid 6-game slate. So if I make 50 or 100 teams, I'll probably have Nick Young at about 10% in my script because 4K, he's a guy that can get you 30 fantasy points. I think he went for 30 against Denver earlier this season. So, the upside there is definitely there for Nick Young against these Denver shooting guards.
Yeah, very plausible that he goes 8x tomorrow. In an up and down game, he's going to get his shots off. 3,900 on FanDuel, 4K on DraftKings. Yeah, I don't hate it at all. And
we're not touching Luol Deng and Brandon Ingram, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Luol Deng really just, I bought him a lot last year in Miami. I can't buy him on this Lakers team. His role is not the same as it was in Miami.
All right, that's going to do it here for the game-by-game breakdown. We're going to move on to the game section of the podcast. You beat me 2-0 last week, so I got some revenge here. You went first on 3K picks last week, so I'll go first this week. We have a 6X guy, 7X guy over 8K that's going to bust and not get 5X. That's what the game is. As always, you'll get the lead off here in one of the 3 categories, and we obviously still both have a veto for the 3 categories.
Okay. So you're starting this off, or am I?
You start. I get to do the 3K pick first this week.
Okay.
Rotate that every week.
So you said 6X and 7X, correct?
Yep. DraftKings pricing.
Okay. So I'll do 7X guy be Kenneth Faried.
Yeah, I'm gonna veto that. You're not gonna.
That's good. I thought you would instantly veto that one.
Right. Yeah, you're not getting that one. There's some times that I'll give you free picks, but there is no way I'm giving you free at 5,400 7X against Lakers. No chance.
Right. All right. So let me do. I'll do Mason Plumlee I'll do 6X though for Plumlee.
All right. I made fun of you last week for Tyson Chandler, by the way, and he went bonkers. So kudos to you.
Yeah, well, remember what I said there. Like, he was going to get his boards. It was just all about his shots. And for some reason, he was getting around the basket a lot more. So, I mean, that is kind of random. That is what makes him more of a GPP play is like when he does get his shots going down. So, but.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that earlier. I wanted to give you kudos for that. My 6X guy is going to be Carmelo.
Okay.
And let's see. And my bust, I'm going to go to my bust next. It's going to be Westbrook.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna veto Westbrook because I agree.
I figured you. That was definitely the safest bust. I'm gonna actually stick to my bust here, and I'm gonna go Lillard is gonna be my bust now.
That's another really good bust. I actually wrote down both those guys as my bust. So it's a good pick. Let's see here.
There's a good chance Lillard still gets 5X at 8,700, but McCollum's been taking over games, and Plumlee's been fantastic.
So what's what do we have to go over for the bust over 8K?
Over 8K.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, I like everybody else basically. Why don't I do this? I'll think that DeMarcus Cousins gets thrown out of the game, and I'll do a DeMarcus Cousin bust, and then I'm gonna come.
It's not the
come
worst
back.
idea. It's back-to-back for him.
Yeah, well, it's either that or you hope for an Anthony Davis injury. I'll go for the Cousins throwout, and then let's. So I need a 8x guy. No,
7x.
7x. Sorry. Yeah, let's roll with Joakim Noah. I mean, he got 41 minutes the other game. Let's hope that he sees like 26 minutes, 27 minutes, and gets a fantasy point per minute.
That was definitely my guy. My 7x guy, since you took the $3,500, and I actually will probably make some lineups with both of these guys, but I'm going to take our boy we just got done talking about from the Lakers, Zubac.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I like that.
Both those guys, 3,500. You could plug both those guys in for about 7K, right? And the opportunity to get 50 fantasy points from those two guys combined, and with these other studs, that's going to be an option that you definitely want to look at here on this slate.
Yep, totally agree. I mean, because if they get the same type of run that we're thinking, if Zubac gets the 26 to 28 minutes that he's got in the last two games, I mean, you can pencil him in for a fantasy point per minute. So yeah, I really like it.
All right, and then my 3K guy that's going to go 7X as the bonus pick here is Cameron Payne.
Yeah, I like that. that was a guy that I really like.
There's another guy down there though.
All right, we're gonna go Kuzminskis from the Knicks. So grab two Knicks guys. So 3K. Last game, he got a lot of run, I want to say. Yeah, 36 minutes last game, 28 points. So you kind of never know what's going to happen with the Knicks rotation. But, yeah, I'll roll with Kuzminskis.
All right, nothing wrong with that. I was going to say the other 3K crapper would be Willie Cauley-Stein. He's been getting 20 minutes a game.
Yep.
All right, that's going to do it. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I mean, this is a fun slate. I mean, a lot of superstars, a lot of different options. Could be even a great tournament, throwing a bunch of different lineups tournament-wise, because you're going to get certain, 10K plus guys low ownership just because of how many good spots there are with the expensive guys.
I definitely agree with that. That's going to do it here for the Tuesday edition of the Morning Grind podcast. Thank you guys for listening. As always, make sure you guys are subscribing to the iTunes page over there at the Roto Grinders Daily Fantasy Fix. We'll be back on Wednesday with the 3-man podcast and a massive slate. Good luck in your contest tonight. We'll see you then.